Hello, everyone. Welcome to Telling Tales. Welcome to the Big Wet. As we did last time on this, I'm going to do the intro, not because I don't have the utmost faith in Pierre, but because it's unfair on him because there's so much going on at the moment. I didn't want to throw all the promo stuff his way at the last minute. So with that in mind, let me get the promo out of the way and then we can start bringing on the lovely people of this actual play series. Check below, there's a bunch of links to YouTube, links to Twitch. You're watching on one site, check out the other. One is where you can catch us live, the other is where you can catch all our archives. You know how that works, you've been on the internet before. There's also links to our social media, to our Patreon, our Discord, our merch store, all that usual fun stuff. We currently are running 3 campaign nights per week. One is Mondays, where we're just having kicked off the new season of Warhammer. Wednesdays is normally Simbroom, but we've just finished an arc yesterday, so that's going fallow for a month or two. In the meantime, we're actually going to be kicking off Blade Runner, which will be live with not next week, but either the week after that or the week after that. We'll confirm it and post it in the schedule and all the usual places. Thursdays is a fortnightly system that alternates between this Big Wet and Wicked Ones, which Sam runs, which is his kind of dungeon keeper alike Forged in the Dark game. And I should say, I mean, he's running it. It's not his game. He didn't make it. Although I'm sure he'd be delighted if he had. We also run one-shots on a monthly basis, the most recent of which was this past Saturday, where we played Troika again, a game we really like. And there's a reason we played Troika again, and that reason is because, friends, we literally just launched a Troika Kickstarter, creating a zine for the game Troika, where you spend your time on a big, weird pillow fort hanging in space. And if that sounds like your kind of thing, then check out the chat, because I just dropped a link, as if by magic, to the campaign, as I say, that just launched. Check it out, see what you think. That's enough self-advertising. Let's bring on our first GM, and by that I mean the only GM of Big Wet. It's hi, Pierre. Hi.
Hello. As we were discussing before the stream, GM can stand for many things, not just game master, but in your case, potentially good medic or other such things.
Yeah. And on that note, shall I talk about Isaac, or how do you want to do this? Yeah, because we said, I'll do the thing first, and then we never actually discussed how you actually wanted it to be set up after.
Well, I think in a seamless and professional transition, it might be interesting for you to describe Isaac.
Sure, absolutely. Isaac is a tall, gaunt, somewhat intimidating-looking individual, constantly clad in kind of a black kind of raincoat, raincoat's the wrong word. You always see it in American films. I'm not sure it's in other places.
Like the kind of
no, like the emergency services things that they wear when it's raining really hard, right?
Yeah.
Like those slickers, as they call that, like the long black sort of things. And he is a medic with the worst bedside manner in the world. He's ruthlessly practical, but also a real team player. So
he's got that nice sort of contrast going with him. I suppose I can interleave this with some descriptions of what happened last week. Go freeform. So last week began with the people coming upon a room with a dead body in it, freshly dead, in fact. They noticed the hole in the window, suspiciously bullet-shaped, and I believe it was Isaac and another one of our players, who I think was Alice, who were tentatively trying to retrieve said body. And on that note, shall we bring on Alice, who is played by our lovely Sam. Sam, hello.
Oh, lovely. That's nice.
How are you doing? No, you've always been Absolutely, Sam. I'm drawing attention to it so that the audience pays attention.
Just 20 minutes ago, I was abhorrent, but now I'm lovely. I've just switched.
On an endless roller coaster. Perhaps describe a little of Alice and how you and or her are doing.
Yeah, so Alice Zhao is she is quite a short, stout woman. Before it started raining and didn't stop, she was a kind of a laborer, dock worker, sailed on ships quite a lot, sometimes worked as fishermen as well, kind of all sorts of things on the water. So quite a handy person to have around, I think, when water is everywhere. Yeah, she's of Asian heritage, obviously. She's perpetually looks impatient and frustrated, whereas wearing stained fishing overalls that were probably yellow a long time ago, and also a bleached pale green beanie with lots of holes in it.
It was convenient last week that she has a Geiger counter on her, and that's starting to tick up a little bit as
Turns
time
out
goes on.
sometimes rain be radioactive here. It's great. Not only does it rain a lot, it's also radioactive rain. Perfect.
Yeah, Alice was nearly shot at the start of last week, but narrowly avoided it.
Unsettling moment when we definitely planned how to get this thing from the body, this note that we needed, really well, so that the person would have no chance of shooting us. And despite that fact, the bullet came like millimeters.
Yeah, I think you tripped. I think that was the problem there. But yeah, you made it out unscathed, and then started trying to descend down an elevator shaft, which is the way that you'd come up. And on that note, let us bring on our famous climbing, rappelling expert, heist man, Chris, who plays Fredo. Hello, Chris. You two are lovely. Can you describe a little bit about what Fredo's like and how he's doing?
Fredo, academic come bank robber with the fall of civilization, is doing okay, but is starting to get a little bit frayed around the edges, what with the constant shuttling up and down this tower where everyone seems to hate us quite a bit. And at the end of last episode had called for just a little bit of a non-negotiable rest.
Yeah. Needed a break, which perhaps will cause a little bit of tension as this game kicks off. So yes, they then rappelled down the side of a building rather than going down the elevator shaft, because there was a guard in the elevator shaft. And yeah, that was probably part of what caused Fredo to be quite stressed out. They also got into a fight with a soldier who was sort of trying to sneak off into a side room to do drugs, I think. To talk about how spectacularly that went, let's bring on our final lovely player, Jack, who plays Hank. Hank, can you tell us a bit about Jack? No, Jack, can you tell us a bit about Hank?
Hank is, I think, the oldest. In my head, he's the oldest member of the group. A former custodian before the big wet apocalypse. And I like to picture him wearing one of those hunting hats with the ear flaps. That's just how I like to picture him. But the fight went spectacularly well. If by that, I mean, nobody died, actually.
Nobody
it went
died
spectacularly well for our opponent.
he
survived. He didn't die straight away.
I think you might have been the person who hit him square in the chest and maybe punctured a lung, but
I think I tried to hit him in the head when he was down, and I think Isaac realized he was no longer a threat and stopped, whereas Hank was still in fight mode.
Yeah, you make it sound so heroic.
Yeah, Isaac basically finally had him at his mercy at the exact moment he realized it didn't matter if he lived or died, and therefore he wasn't willing to expend the energy it would take to kill him.
And at this point, Hank tried to stamp on his face. So the fight went well. We didn't die, and didn't get seriously injured. So well,
he made a little bit of a noise, which is still unclear on exactly how many people have heard it. And Alice, I believe, spotted some non-fire hose gang members moving up through the building who didn't seem to respond, at least, to that screamed thing. So they seem to have their own thing going on. And then I guess you progressed further down the building, braving the ever-increasing and highly radioactive rain. And yeah, so you arrived at the 35th floor apartment. And I believe there was a little bit of a schism because outside of the apartment floor you sort of ended up on, the room, there seemed to be some sort of loud shouting or commotion, which Isaac and Alice were especially keen on investigating and identifying the cause of, and perhaps using as a distraction. But meanwhile, Fredo was feeling pretty exhausted, having taken these 3 less climby people down the side of a building, and so needed a break. And I believe they had just departed as that session went. So perhaps we shall pick up with Isaac and Alice as you head down the corridor, and you see it sort of opens out into like a kind of larger courtyard. You kind of remember this from earlier as being there are these kind of checkpoints which are maintained by various members of this fire hose gang, and there's a bit of a commotion going on. Like there's some of what appear to be locals kind of shouting at this group. You can see that at the checkpoint, people who are kind of pushing them back, and one of them had sort of, a couple of them had like wheeled out a kind of fire hose gun that maybe had been jerry rigged from a like a fire truck or some sort, and had blasted the crowd with water, and they had kind of temporarily dispersed. You can kind of see that sort of further back from the crowd, there is a woman who is standing next to, is looking very angry and not really as sort of put off by the fire hose as you might expect, even though obviously like when it blasts her, she like falls down, but she gets right back up and is starting to shout. And she's next to a man who is like holding his side, where there's like a big red sort of blood patch. What do you do?
So to go, just so I have it right in my mind's eye, we're kind of looking down on this area, which is sort of leading away from the... Is this area essentially kind of like the side of the market area that's furthest from the docks? Is that kind of the geography of it?
Yeah, this is closer towards more towards the sort of center of the building, which is where the main stairwell
that we initially
is, and also the elevator shafts are nearby as well.
Do most of the fire hose gang in the area appear to be preoccupied by what's going on here, or are there plenty of other fire hoses patrolling around, not paying attention?
Fire hoses.
So if you have a look, you can see at like the main fire hose gang members that you can see are definitely either around that area or sort of moving towards that area. Is there I think actually, because you thought about that, you will notice that if you're looking specifically for like other members of the gang, you can spot like there's a couple of them who are kind of split up from the rest of their group, and are like kind of cut off by the crowd and are like looking a bit worried.
I see. Okay.
And are like, maybe like they're not, it's not like the crowd are like ganging up on them. You're not sure that the crowd are like generally aware of them, but yeah, they look
Okay, so it's quite the unrest going on. If there's enough to split a group of them off, then I see.
Yeah. They're not.
Mhm.
And yeah, you can't. I don't think you can immediately see anyone around that's like.
Yeah, that was the other question. Is anyone paying attention up here or anything like that? Then, okay.
Not right now. You don't.
So am I right in saying that between us and our boat, there is like a rioting crowd, a checkpoint, and a bunch of fire hoses, including someone who looks maybe like the leader.
Sorry, the person who is the angriest person is a member of the crowd.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I got that wrong. Yeah.
No. So not exactly. You were based on the way you came up. There are various routes up. Or there are relatively limited routes up, right? And so they keep a guard around those relatively limited routes. Around, like further away from that, there are routes down. If you wanted to go up the building, you would have to go through the fire hose gang immediately, probably. If you wanted to go down, there are like alternative stairwells where like some people are coming up, but there aren't guards on those.
So we could we can walk along a corridor on our level to like the corner of the building or something and find a
way down.
Good.
Well, I imagine that's pretty easy to kind of scope out and do from where we are. We know the direction we need to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. Can we see the boat?
Can you see the boat from where you are? You're on the 35th floor, which is like actually the 5th floor, I think.
Proper visualizing questions.
Yeah. Let's say you can see the boat. It's down on the docks.
Exactly as I remember leaving it.
I mean, from this distance, you probably can't see.
Is it in the same place?
It is in the same place.
Okay, that's
it
the good
doesn't
stuff.
appear to have been like sunk.
No one's like rode it around and put it somewhere else or something. That's good.
Yeah, unless they rode it around and then came back to the same spot.
Okay. I will turn to Isaac and go, this looks like a perfect distraction to me. I think we need to get him and go.
Isaac will nod and start pacing around to look for like a corridor leading to the right area with presumably with a stairwell to go.
Okay, I'll head back to Fredo and Hank then.
Okay. And I guess that's an opportune moment. So we will switch back to Fredo and Hank. So this will be just time skipping backwards a little bit. So Alice has not yet arrived. Fredo's just sort of, I guess, collapsed on, like sitting on something or kind of head in hands. Kind of describe how Fredo's reacting.
Yeah, so Fredo's clearly just sat down, having a bit of a think and kind of running the situation through his head, and he'll kind of chuck up the Hank and go, right, so, well, we know there's more than one group. We know one group was going up. We know one group was behind us. And then there's the fire hose gang, and then there's whatever chaos is out there. Thing is, if there were groups going up, then there are clearly, obviously, groups that decided to go down first as well. And that's going to make things underwater more complex, isn't it? And on top of that, we have to think about the bloody sniper. How are we supposed to get a helicopter off the top of the roof when there's a gun?
Oh, Jack, you're muted.
Hank lost his voice for a second there. What would be really bad is if one or two of us to go to the safe and find it already open. That would suck. What would be really good is if somebody has opened the safe and as we get down there to the water, they're gasping for air coming out and we can just steal the key. But I don't think it's going to be that easy.
Old-fashioned mugging, yeah, that's going to have to be the way of it, isn't it?
But yeah, in terms of the sniper, I don't know. I mean, short of going over there in the boat and ambushing them before they actually get us, and just adding another layer of complication to it. And well, there's no guarantee the sniper would be alone anyway. without someone watching.
We
their
should have
back.
taken the opportunity while we were up there to clock the helicopter, but I suppose time.
We were trying not to get shot.
Fredo will kind of go over to the window and kind of just scope the weather outside. I imagine it's still pretty awful.
Let me just. Oh yes, yeah. It's starting to. The rain is like forming almost kind of like a mist. You know, like where actually like the visibility is kind of actually going down because the rain is, you know, you're starting to lose how far you can see because of just the thickness of the rain. And yeah, it looks like there might be sort of darker clouds kind of coming in. Yeah.
Not going to be able to take off in that either, not safely.
But a sniper's less likely to be able to see us.
Well, look, sure, I'll take the good news where I can find it.
You know, not getting shot in the head is always, or the reduced chance of that is always good news.
Yeah. Do you, so Fredo, are you trying to at this time sort of like calm down? You know, are you doing anything in particular to sort of de-stress or like get composure? Is there anything?
Just physically taking a rest, but I suppose mentally not really. Mentally weighing the problem up quite logically, but definitely not climbing a building anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so I think Hank can probably see that you're like a little bit like you're talking logicking it out. Is that how well do you guys know each other? I'm basically trying to gauge whether I should say that you lose a bit of wet. Maybe you can decide based on this interaction whether you feel like in any way, you know, capable of continuing and gain like, you know, 0 to 3 points of wet depending on how you feel.
Do you feel reassured?
Yeah. Sorry, lose 0 to 3 points of wet depending on
it's
how,
that bad.
how like
it's that bad. Yeah, we all know it.
Yeah. No, it's
you see, because we were talking last week about wet having a psychological perspective. I mean, in the first instance, like Fredo, none of us are particularly all that soaked physically, but a lot of this is kind of psychological and trauma. And Fredo is not in a position. This is not a meditative moment. This is kind of Fredo's trying to synthesize a plan. And Fredo, in his heisting days, was very much everything is planned kind of crook. So this is not his comfort zone. So I think it wouldn't be fair to say so. Maybe Fredo's kind of analytical side of thing is reassuring Hank's maybe a little bit, but Fredo will not be taking any buffs.
Sure.
Well, Hank is going to take a swig from his hip flask of questionable alcohol that has probably been brewed in a toilet or something, and he will offer it to Fredo as well if he wants a swig. I don't know whether that will help reassure him or make things worse.
It's the post-apocalyptic version of a health potion.
Yeah.
So you're going to take the wet bargain that Pierre has offered you a wet bargain, a moist agreement.
I think a swig of questionable moonshine at least reduces it by 1.
And just out of interest, do you also swig the questionable moonshine?
Yes, I'll have a drop.
And this is time to announce our next Kickstarter where we're brewing our own.
No. Now Fredo needs to take 30 points of damage from the... that's not how this system works. Okay, so at the point at which you've just taken a swig, Alice can enter.
I didn't know there were drinks.
Hank will offer some to Alice.
I don't think it's fair for me to take a minus wet just for a quick swig.
I'm not saying you necessarily take the minus wet. It's whether you drink the
I
alcohol.
definitely drink some.
It smells like nothing you've ever smelled before. It smells like pure engine oil.
Nothing will stop me having this drink. I maybe I drink a little more than Hank is comfortable with.
Okay, okay.
And then give it
Right
back. And then immediately go, come on, we got to go. We've got a good distraction and straight way to the boat. Best time now.
Yeah, fair enough. We're not going down the outside, not in this weather.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so you guys leave. You meet back up with Isaac, who is presumably closer to the stairwell or a ladder or some such.
Yeah, like, do you want me to roll to have found it, or is it
No, I
just
think you scouted it
straightforward?
earlier. I think you saw it.
Sure. I found like an old kind of like stairwell. In my head, it's like maybe this layer used to be like a hotel or something, and it's got that kind of like really anonymous carpeting. It's still there, but like rotting and patchy.
It's absolutely ruined by
Yeah.
the salt and the weather that is like no. So you guys meet up, you descend the stairs. Okay, yeah. As you're walking down, you see, like, in a sort of side room, there are two people who are like gathered around one of those burn barrels, and they are look to be cooking some kind of fish, some kind of like gray, weirdly shaped fish. Maybe also have some kind of squid. Surprisingly, it smells quite good. But yeah, they don't seem to take very much notice of you. What do you do?
That sounds like
For his part, Isaac is definitely passing it by. If this thing is already part cooked, there's absolutely no way to tell what it looked like before it went in the burn barrel. Like, also, Jake, the overwhelming time pressure.
Yep. Okay, so the group sort of bypass the group of scavengers who are cooking their catch, and continue on down. You come to a more sort of like, you come to the kind of the level that you were looking down on, Isaac and Alice. So this is the level on which the kind of commotion is happening, and you can kind of hear the kind of shouts a bit more, and see people sort of, like, a couple of them are like throwing glass bottles and things. The woman seems to be shouting something about how her husband needs to go up. He needs to go up. He's going to die if they leave him down here. And they cause this damn event. She's really pissed off. And then she takes like a full blast of the water cannon to the face, and is knocked backwards, spluttering and coughing. Her husband is kind of limping after her, and kind of looks in a bad way. On the other side, you can see you're kind of I think you're on the level of the kind of market. There's, as previously you've seen, there's kind of various stalls that have kind of been set up. A few of them have people inside, maybe still doing things, but definitely that's further away from the crowd and the violence. There's shutters down.
You mentioned there were people like rioting here as well, like a group of people. Do they seem to be like supporting her or something, or is it just
it looks like that. I mean, it doesn't look like an organized protest or something. It's if you want to do a brains roll to like work out what the kind of riot is, or like what maybe is the cause of it.
Yep, 31, that's a pass.
Okay, so yeah, you kind of are looking at how people are interacting and how people are going about things and what kind of things people are chanting and shouting and stuff. If you were to judge it, you'd say it looks like maybe this woman's husband is like an inciting incident, like something that triggered a lot of people to get triggered a lot of people who had bubbling tensions already to kind of be like, they are treating us like shit. We don't take this. This is a good example of them treating us like shit.
Yeah. So it's not about this, it's about
although it kind of
This
maybe is a little bit centered around this.
It might be related, but this is like the flashpoint.
Yeah, this is definitely the flashpoint, as far as you can tell.
Yeah. So this isn't going anywhere imminently. Basically, that's a good sign.
Yeah, and like some people possibly are like sufficiently angry that they're unrelated, but they're also like they don't care about this woman, but they care about their issue, and they're like pissed off about So it's not. It doesn't seem like it seems to be roiling, and the fact that the Firehose gang are bringing out quite a lot of force to use against them is kind of angering the crowd. And obviously, while most of them can't really fight back against the armed soldiers or whatever, that's not stopping them kind of shouting and pelting things. And what do you do?
I don't think that knowledge will really change what I say or do, and it's probably continuing to the boat as quick as possible, unless anyone else has another idea.
I think kind of as Fredo's kind of got a idea of the situation, he kind of goes to Isaac. Do you think you could help the guy there that might buy us some eyes or some help later on?
Can Isaac give him the ocular pat down to?
You can, but you might have to be a bit closer if you want the information to be like medically significant. So you would expose yourself to a bit of like risk of either being associated with the crowd or being, they are looking at these people.
Yeah,
these are like the center of the crowd,
and the hose is currently on them, right? So like,
yeah, I mean it's coming on
Isaac,
like bursts, but yeah.
Isaac is going to kind of glance over in the direction, and with his usual steely resolve to avoid side quests of all kinds, will just kind of shake his head and say, I see no benefits in marking ourselves out as dissidents.
Fair enough.
Feel free to persuade him otherwise, but
I mean, some allies are better than no allies at all. And we don't have to step out to the crowd. We could beckon them over, just side room, 2-minute job. Hopefully.
I think we're already in enough of a hurry. We need to get moving. Like, they could know someone knows what we did up there already. That bloody sniper did, so we've got to get a move on.
But no one's really seen us except the guy we really beat the shit out of.
Well, that's it. No one's really seen us at the minute. We're just anonymous people in here. We can sort of move around.
Yeah, don't get seen.
And that anonymity is sacrificed the moment we are seen helping enemies of the primary authorities.
Okay. Look, I'm outvoted. Let's go.
Look, one thing before we do get on that boat, though. We got, now remind me, Pierre, I can't remember which way around it was. We got an extra scuba mask and tank, and we need another dry suit. I think that was it.
What are you referring to?
When we were upstairs in the previous session, we found an extra scuba mask and tank, but we don't.
You did find.
Yeah, we have diving kit for one person that was supplied to us by Frankie.
2 people. 2 people.
Yeah, you had for 2 people.
2 people, okay. And then we found a mask and a scuba tank.
Yeah, that's right. We just need the dry suit.
I'm not sure you found.
If we wanted 3 people to dive.
Oh, was it just the mask? Okay, well.
I think it was just a mask. Okay. If I remember correctly.
I thought I remembered us saying we just need.
We just need one more thing. Maybe it was just a tank we needed. I remember thinking we just needed one more thing, but I might be wrong.
Possibly.
I distinctly recall there was a tank involved, but what there wasn't was a dry suit.
Okay. I'll trust you guys. Like ultimately, oxygen tanks are not actually that expensive, and this this environment probably, like this market, almost certainly would sell. Although it might be a little bit on the black market because scavengers are not looked on well. So are you guys? So are you guys heading towards the docks? Are you guys heading towards the people? Are you guys heading more like looking at the market? What are you guys doing?
Sorry, before we make any decision on whether to spend time trying to barter, I should point out that a dry suit standard cost in this world is 500 bullets.
Yes.
Do I see any dry suits lying around that I could nick?
You don't see any dry suits hanging like just
a rack of dry suits nearby.
Yeah. They're pretty valuable. Like
they keep them in lock and key, surely.
Yeah.
You would be aware, like, I think that you're, canny enough to be aware that like a market of this size, like there was somebody selling oxygen tanks sort of fairly out in the open. There are people around who probably would sell you a dry suit.
But we don't have enough money or anything to trade to get a dry suit. Not of that value, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, but also in order to sell you a dry suit, they would have to have a dry suit.
Yeah. Okay. I think Alice's mental matter is going, unless I don't think we're going to be able to buy a dry suit in time and with what we have. So unless I see an opportunity somehow, which is unlikely, I'm just going to keep going after mentioning it.
So what are you guys doing? Where are you heading? What's your plan?
Let's go to the docks. I have a suspicion that not all of the groups looking for this went up first, and I want to see if there's anyone else diving.
Okay. So the group head towards the docks, away from the main commotion. So the docks they kind of spill out of the lowest floor. It's kind of, some of the walls are knocked in a bit, and the docks extend out from the building. So it is under the weather, and also a lot more sort of exposed visually. Are you approaching the docks in any particular way? Are you bearing anything in mind? Who's going first? That sort of thing.
I think I would be in a rush to get straight back to my boat and would have a modicum of caution, but I'm more in a hurry than anything else.
Okay.
I want to, if someone's like watching the boat, that's probably my...
Sure.
Otherwise, I'm just straight to it.
I think I'd clock the fact that Alice is going to beeline for the boat and Fredo was going to once again split the party in order to kind of improve our chances of remaining anonymous and kind of just maybe take a more circuitous route to kind of scope out the area, check what else is going on with the other vessels or any other evidence of people who came here to dive, any other evidence of scavengers.
Yeah. Okay. So and Isaac or Hank, what are you doing? So Fredo is having a look for other boats, maybe, or other people.
I feel an identical party split about to occur because Isaac is of the opinion that like randomly wandering around is absolutely wasting the crucial providence that this riot has like generated for us, and it's like, let's just hang around until the authorities regain control and start putting this down and being really careful with their security. Like he sees the riot as completely like a gift, and if we don't literally crack on, we're going to massively waste it. So he's heading to the boat with Alice.
You're a scary man, Isaac, but I agree with your opinions on things.
And Hank, are you going with either group or are you going your own way?
Ooh,
because you can go your own way.
Yeah, Hank and Jackie are a bit torn. Both options seem really good. Of potentially sabotaging other would-be helicopter thieves. So yeah, let's go with an identical party split. That's always a good idea. But yeah, Hank will, along with Fredo, we'll see if we can see anyone else that's looking like they're in a looting mood.
Okay, cool. I think we'll start with Fredo and Hank. So you guys are sort of taking a more circuitous route, seeing if there are any like boats that maybe look like they're not from here. Do you have any sort of skills that you feel like would assist you in looking at this? I'll probably ask you to roll. I think this would be brain. You're trying to think about what looks like a boat versus what looks like a scavenger boat versus what looks like a standard fishing vessel, or
I'm going to make the case for the fact of my heisting background. I know what casing the joint looks like.
Okay.
I kind of have a rough idea. Maybe not boat related, but I know kind of.
Like maybe you know what looks valuable. You know maybe how people sometimes try to secure things that are valuable, or like ways
or
people
just
try and
how
hide.
how people park vehicles to make them look like they're just supposed to be there
Inconspicuous.
normally.
Yeah.
It's
I like that
looking for conspicuous inconspicucy.
I like that kind of like, I might not be one of your fancy boat people, but I know some robbers when I see them.
Okay. Fredo, if you want to roll brains, or just
So that is
this won't take
47
long, am I
plus
right?
47 plus 10 is 57.
Fredo's just looking
And
around.
that is a fail at 81.
As a fail. Okay, and Hank, how do you do? Or do you have any sort of skills that you feel like could apply that could make it easier for you?
Well, Hank used to work at a school, and if there's one thing I know about children is that they're always up to no good.
Okay.
So he's well aware of being able to see. I've just been taken out for saying that.
Yeah. Oh, it's gone dark. It's gone dark. Jack is having a few camera issues. He's totally taken out, removed, annihilated. Oh, and he's back and he's gone. It's chaos.
It keeps removing him when I try and add him.
Right. Well, on that cliffhanger, where we're finding out if Hank manages to convince me and then manages to roll, perhaps we can briefly switch back to Alice and Isaac. So you kind of make your way out into the sort of misting drizzle that's kind of coming down on you. And yeah, the visibility is pretty bad, and you can kind of hear it kind of pattering down on the sort of half-built dock boards and random pieces of concrete and such. Mm-hmm. You're maybe halfway along the docks, Alice, when you see the building sort of directly opposite from you. Mm-hmm. And you it comes out of the fog, and you kind of can see the floor from which the sniper shot you previously.
Yeah. I will definitely have a noticeable hesitate, but then I'll think there's no way they knew who it was. They just saw a movement. And I'll just go straight for the boat as if I didn't look at the tower at all.
Sure. You press on through the rain. I think going through this kind of rain, I think will gain you a couple of wet each.
Already, my wet is getting so high.
Yeah. Although actually, I don't know how long you're out. Are you really running for it, or are you,
I mean, this sort of weather, you don't want to be out for long. But if I get to the boat and then I'm intending to do something with the boat, is there anywhere I could move the boat where it's undercover, or is it just if I'm in the boat, I have to be rained on?
Well, given that given that this world is incredibly wet, I'm going to assume that within the boat there's at least some sort of tarp or something that keeps out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I also have a tarp that I left in the thing.
There you go. Well, in that case, my intention was to get
literally Isaac's tarp is covering.
I think it'd be quite quick, and I would point out that the worst wet you get in this game is +3 per hour.
Yeah, so actually it probably wouldn't be that much. So if you're drenched, which this isn't quite, this is medium kind of rain. Okay, so you find your way to the boat. On initial inspection, it does not appear like anything has been touched particularly. It seems like
the top.
Yeah, the job that you guys did seemed to conceal it reasonably well from from whatever patrols or other people, or maybe there were other things that people were interested in.
Yeah, the dry suits and everything are still there.
Yep, the dry suits are still there.
Precious thing.
So what do you do? Do you pack them up as quickly as you
Yeah,
can?
I mean, I'll leave them there where they are and kind of just cover the boat with a tarp first of all, assuming we might be using the boat for the next bit. So, and then kind of just probably sit under the tarp, so I can't really be seen very much. Probably with Isaac, I assume, and then just keep an eye out, see if I can see what Fredo and Hank are doing, I guess.
Okay. Yep. So you both hunker down under the tarp, Alice and Isaac, and
No Hank.
no Hank at the moment. So I'm like, I would ordinarily cut back to see how that is going.
I got you covered, Pierre, because I just had a great idea.
What's your great idea? Describe for me.
I'm going to see if I can get the attention of the woman with the sad man friend, and see if I can kind of extract them from the crowd.
Okay. Yeah.
Without kind of.
This is Isaac's expression in the boat, isn't it?
Isaac doesn't know. Isaac is
Isaac doesn't know. This is all just Matt.
yeah. Matt internally screams.
Isaac knows.
Yeah. So, Fredo, you can kind of continue round, trying to sort of remain in the shadows as much as you can. What are you doing to attract their attention or catch their eye or bring them over?
Yeah, I'm gonna be out of sight of the main kind of thrust of the chaos, and if I can just catch the lady's attention and kind of beckon her over into kind of the back end of the crowd or away from the line of sight of things.
Okay. She's pretty sort of, things are pretty chaotic, and she's kind of in the thick of it. So I think that would probably also be brain to like work out how to catch her eye, or to try and like, not. I assume what you're trying to do is draw her eye and not the eye of like guards and other people. You're trying to, position yourself so that she can see you, but no one else can.
Yeah.
Okay. You can try and do that.
I think I will not try and make. I have a couple of angles here for some bonuses on this roll, but I also feel like now we've got the full party back. This whole side quest is a little bit. If I roll well, let the dice decide whether or not I derail this scenario any longer than I already have.
Okay.
That's a 35, and I needed a 47, so I succeed.
Okay, so you sort of find some kind of crates that provide some sort of cover from most people, but you line it up so that you can see her, and like there's like an electric light where you are, so you're kind of illuminated a bit. And yeah, you wave, I guess, and try and beckon, try and like ask her to come over. She looks a bit sort of confused. She does like she looks over at you and she kind of looks a bit confused. But after a few moments of you kind of indicating that you want her to come over, she says something to her husband, you think, and walks, like he sits down and gets away from the crowd a little bit and walks over to you.
I see your husband. Is he going to be okay?
No, he's not going to be okay. This is.
We were trading earlier. That one of our party is paramedic. I can't guarantee we'll be able to help too much, but.
Oh my God, that would.
Look, I can't
would you be able to?
But it's better. It's better than trying to fight through that on that wall of meat over there.
I mean, yes. Thank you. My name's Grace.
Grace,
and she
bring your husband down to the docks. I'll go and let the others know.
Okay, she goes over to her husband and says a few words. I'm just going to roll a dice. Okay. All right. Yeah. So, Hank, you were rolling when we last saw you for if you could see any scavengers, and you were about to make an incredibly tenuous argument, I believe. But no,
yeah.
I shouldn't bias it that way.
The argument was that he's seen children up to no good or about to be up to no good while working at a school. So maybe he's.
I mean, okay. So if I'm being maximally charitable, I guess like as a custodian, you are like experienced with fixing things, and so maybe you could identify things that have been repaired, and in general scavengers get more damage than other people, maybe. Like scavenger boats are in more active use than local boats, possibly. I don't know.
I will accept that, Charity.
Okay, roll your dice on brains or brain.
I don't even need it because I got a 12.
You got a 12. Okay.
Yeah. So you know where you can take that charity.
Yeah, that charity will henceforth be removed. All right, the sniper shoots you. No.
That's why he's only got 12 brains. They've all been chopped out.
Okay, you I think can identify a boat that appears to have, like, to you looks like a scavenger boat that's trying to look like it's not a scavenger boat. And I think you took a little bit longer searching. Fredo went off on to talk to this lady and try and win friends. And as Fredo kind of returns, you kind of can indicate, you can see that there's a boat over there that looks pretty much similar to yours, and maybe a good candidate to break into. It is obviously out in on the docks. It's on a different, you know how the building is kind of open on a few sides. It's on a different one of the sides of the building, like it's one of the docks jetting out sort of perpendicular to the main one. Are you going to head out, and what are you going to do?
Is there anyone that looks like they're obviously guarding it?
You can't see. There are a few people on the docks, but you can't see anyone particularly close to this. Like they're not on the same. I don't know the terminology. On the same set, like on the same dock. Pierre. You're on. Yeah. I should know. I'm Pierre. I should know what
I was just thinking.
Have like an inherent understanding of terminology. What do you want to do? So Fredo, you've just like come back. You've just joined Hank.
I think we should stroll confidently up to that boat as if it's our boat, and see what we can get away with.
Okay.
This is me saying to Fredo, in character.
You think they're scavengers?
I mean, my gut tells me, yeah, that's a scavenger boat.
Yeah, and you can kind of see on the side there are certain like there's certain like scuff marks and things that kind of make it look like it's seen heavy use, and maybe it's made out of several different parts, as though somebody had been traveling a lot and had access to a variety of things.
Yeah, I said that's that boat has been literally cobbled together with bits from every other kind of boat out there, and that's a working boat.
All right, I'll keep sketch. You go in, grab what you can. I don't want to get surprised by whoever the real owners are.
Yep. Okay. So you nonchalantly walk up to this boat. It has a sort of similar kind of. It's covered with a tarp. I assume you. Like, what do you do? You
Yeah,
can't really
like
see
I
what's in
like
it without
it is
lifting
my
up the top.
own boat. I will climb on it and get underneath the top, and as if not as if I'm doing anything completely sketchy and dangerous and risky.
There's on board you can see that there's like a harpoon gun. There's a few bullets lying around, but no actual guns. The main thing that draws your attention is there is a like large metal red box with a padlock on it.
How large? Is in a box that I could quickly grab and run, or grab and carry?
You couldn't quickly grab and run with it. It
okay, but casually saunter away with it. Again, I'm trying to keep up the illusion that I'm supposed to be carrying this box.
2 people could saunter away with it, but 1 person could not comfortably. Like, I guess Hank is pretty strong. Maybe you could heft it up.
Could I at least get it onto the sort of pier, sort of jitty part of?
Yeah. I think you could. Like, I think you're pretty. I imagine you was pretty strong. I think you could probably heft it up. Is that what you do?
Another question: how secure does the lock look? As in, a good whack with a rifle break it, or is it it's a good lock?
It looks like you'd probably have to put in some effort to break it. It's not like the thickest, most substantial lock, but it's obviously not like totally trivial. Like, you can try and hit it if you like, but
I don't want to break my rifle.
It probably doesn't.
With the
like, your rifle is not necessarily the best thing. It's not going to just like It's
I've got a wrench.
Pardon?
I've got a wrench in my inventory.
Oh, okay.
Wrench it off.
Can you wrench it off? So you're gonna like try and like get some leverage and like kind of pry it?
Yeah, let me try and do that before I expose that I'm on this boat.
I love to imagine Hank going onto the boat, going under the tarp, and then just hearing noises, just crashing and breaking, going under the tarp. It's like, it's fine.
Okay, so yeah, Hank is going to use his wrench and various other like I assume like a piece of metal or something to get some leverage, so you can try and like physically pull the lock apart. Or yeah, is that the approach you're taking?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to roll lungs for that.
I should have made lungs my dump stat. I'm literally 3 above what I needed.
Okay.
I got a 38.
Did you account for any bonuses? Like,
does the wrench count, or is that just needed to actually be able to do it?
Your profession as custodian or something like that.
As a janitor, you must have had to have broken a lock
into some lockers and stuff like that.
Yeah, janitory.
Yeah,
this feels like not charity.
This feels a lot more janitorial than I've seen children up to that.
You've seen children being bad, and so you know what a criminal looks like.
Yeah, it was a dodgy school. Okay, so how did the bonuses work? Well, 38. I needed under 35, so
yeah. So you would, even if it's only your plus 10, then that would. Yeah, so after a little bit of straining, Fredo, you see the boat is kind of like rocking back and forth a bit, but you can't actually see inside, so you just sort of so yeah, you managed to tear off the thing. Inside the metal red case is a dry suit, an oxygen canister, and a pistol.
Cool. I could grab those sort of like that, pistol in my waistband, and
yeah. I mean, there is also there isn't like an official load mechanic, right? So you have to work out you have to put these. These will weigh you down in some way.
There is a slots thing. You have
there's a slot.
Yeah, there is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm maxed out on my slots, but I'm not necessarily stowing them. I'm
Okay.
That's what
You wouldn't say
carry,
Hank
though.
couldn't carry.
Yeah, sure.
No, you have to leave. No, I won't. I can't stand. Something has to get left behind.
I
This
would
is-
agree,
yeah.
unless you get.
You can't
Fredo
carry
to
the
help you
oxygen
spot
canister, definitely. That is like a difficult, heavy item to carry. And like you'll be very like you could carry the dry suit.
Isn't
but,
Fredo nearby?
Well,
Fredo is
yeah, okay
watching
then.
the
I
boat.
will haul the oxygen canister onto the jitty, like the
Okay.
pier,
Yeah.
and then I will carry the dry suit, and then Fredo can see there's an oxygen canister emerging from the boat and hopefully take
Okay.
the hint.
Okay, but were you totally like full up?
Okay, I mean,
We have to engage with the mechanics somehow.
no. Why do we play these games if not to ignore the rules?
You can't.
And what
If
you-
you can get away with, I know what criminals are because I've been near children.
This has just become
You've
Fallout
already used
now.
your good karma for this session.
This has
Yep.
become Fallout now, and Jack is wanting to mod the game so he can have infinite inventory to pick up all the wooden race cars and
Tell you
I
what,
need to
cola,
build my
empty
settlement.
Coca-Cola bottles that he
you can
wants.
carry everything you possibly like, Hank. We can only move at 1 meter per hour.
That's fine. I've got places to be.
You might have some places to be.
Okay, well, I don't leave my hunting rifle behind, but that is the biggest thing. So I'll leave that for now
Okay.
on the
Yep.
jitty as well. You know, throw that
Okay.
out.
You leave the hunting rifle. So Fredo, what you see is after this like boat shaking back and forth, you see like a Hank emerges with an oxygen canister, which he places on the side of the pier, and then he sort of later emerges with a big dry suit that he's carrying, presumably. Yeah. What do you do, Fredo?
In a practiced way, with great skill, looking like this is just completely normal. We'll walk over and with more than enough slots to spare for this work, we'll pick up the stuff that Hank hasn't carried with him, and we'll just make for our boat.
Okay.
Does this mean I can go back to my rifle? Because I don't want to leave a gun
I'll
behind.
pick up the rifle. I'll pick up the
yeah.
rifle as well and kind of sling
Okay,
it over my
Fredo,
back.
you now have Hank's rifle. And yeah, you make it back relatively unscathed, although I should probably roll because that took you a while.
A lot of it was Hank just looking at the oxygen can, looking at a rifle.
Isaac and Alice are in the boat, just like, what the hell are they doing?
Isaac is sat in this boat, staring with slowly rising steeled fury down in the direction of everything but the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like while I look up exactly what happens. Isaac and Alice. Alice, you're in a boat with like a steadily fuming Isaac.
Could you
what
give
do
us an
do?
idea of how much actual time has passed? Like, is it hours? Is it minutes?
I think it's like maybe like half an hour in order for like all of the things to happen.
That's a long time to be sitting there.
Yeah. So what do you get up to in the boat to pass the time as you wait for Fredo and Hank?
Isaac is just sat unnervingly still.
Mm-hmm. I think I will unmoor the boat after like 5 minutes and then just hold the rope. Like as if I'm ready to row away at a moment's notice.
Okay.
And then just keep sticking my head out now and then think I really shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
How much has the riot calmed down?
When Alice sticks the head out, it looks like it's calming down a little bit. It looks like, yeah. So, where did you say to meet the woman? By the way, did you say to meet her back at the boat?
I just told her to come down to the docks.
Okay. Fredo and Hank. Sorry. Fredo,
I was just going to say, sorry, to be fair, she won't see us, will she? Because we've got the tarp set up over the boat.
No, we can't really be seen by anyone.
Okay.
So Fredo, when you like as you're walking back, you see out of a window somebody casting a fishing line out, and it kind of draws your eye across to the three people. There's the woman, her husband, and a third person who you've not seen, who looks like kind of like another woman. What do you do?
I mean, we have to stow this stuff, so I'm going to not see them or elect to make sure they don't see me for just a moment while we get this stuff back onto the boat, and then we'll negotiate. I'll try and talk Isaac into helping.
Okay, I think you can manage to do this. Like they don't know where to be looking for you. They're kind of just waiting around, maybe looking a little bit impatient. You make your way back to the original boat. So Fredo and Hank poke their head under the tarp where Isaac and Alice have been stewing.
Jesus, what took you so long? I thought you'd been caught or something.
Jackpot, Hank did the numbers.
Hey, nice job. That was almost worth the wait.
Almost. Definitely.
Isaac is. Can you reiterate what you're bringing in? It's like a dry suit. Is it like an entirely new scuba set? Okay.
It was a dry suit and a oxygen tank.
Right.
Was not a scuba mask.
Isaac is looking at it and sort of shaking his head, like, why have you brought us this?
2 people go down now.
3 people.
Yeah, I can't breathe underwater, so.
Come on, let's go then. Anyway, we need to find out what the heck's going on. I don't like sitting on this bloody dock.
Give me 5 minutes.
Oh Jesus! Remember, what else do we need to do?
Look, we do this quickly. We do it badly. How many banks have you robbed in your time?
I just want to get out of the view of that bloody tower.
Give it a goddamn second and think, okay? If we rush this, we screw up. We do it.
I swear to God, I'm setting up the oars. You hurry up.
The injured man and his wife, they're on the docks now. We can treat them. We can get a favor. Trust me, having someone on the inside of any kind of establishment is worth 3 more dry suits.
I will look at Isaac.
You engaged with the woman?
Yes, not in sight of the crowd. I'm not I have done this before.
Did I stutter?
Isaac, you never stutter, but you also help.
Get in the boat.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Right, let's do it then.
I will row away without hesitation. Once everyone's in.
Okay.
All I'm doing at first is trying to get us out of view of the tower around the far side of this tower. Looking like I'm just rowing off.
Sure.
And then,
so you're trying to go. Is the idea that you're trying to kind of go round and find a place to start diving and maybe get?
I haven't thought as far ahead as diving yet. I'm just trying to get so we're a little bit further away from the docks, a little bit out of view, perhaps behind some wreckage of the building or something, so we could.
Yeah, there's various kind of skyscrapers in various states of dilapidation around.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just get us to a remotely secure, like less visible spot, and then just stop and say, "So, how do we know where we're diving?"
Right, because we know it's on the opposite side from the sniper, right? But that's all we know. Is that right?
What are you saying? You know what is on the opposite side from
the place we're diving?
The place we need to dive.
Yeah. So the it is inside of the building, but it's underwater, right? That's the central thing. So you like there might be like this because the lower floors are flooded. There there were windows there. Maybe some of those are broken, so maybe you could go in through a broken window, something like that. Or you could alternatively, go back to the dock and go, through one of the internal like stairways or something, because those just go down into water.
I think Alice will say we should have a look at the outside of the building on this side.
There's got to be a way underwater into it. If it's all flooded, those windows are especially on the lower levels, they're not, skyscraper reinforced windows. They're going to be more normal level, and the amount of pressure on them, it's going to have to have broken a window when you go through.
They will have collapsed in decades ago.
This is in the basement, right?
Yeah, so your information is that the ignition key is in a vault in sub-basement 5.
So we can use the main entrance in theory and get below.
Yeah.
Sub-basement 5.
Yes.
Nice long way down.
Jeez. And how many floors is the water?
So the water is, I believe, 25. It's really deep.
I mean, we're playing a role-playing game, so I imagine, but we are aware this is a physical impossibility.
Yeah, I looked into it. It would be very, very hard to do this. Yeah, like these aren't. So in the book, it's listed as oxygen tanks. They would have to be like heavily adulterated with various like nitrogen in order for this to be even possible. And this would be a very hardcore dive in reality,
and a very long process.
Yeah.
And there's a really good chance of horrible depressurization injury if you do anything wrong.
We would have to dive down extremely slowly and come back up even slower.
To be fair, the way that the so it doesn't actually affect the mass that much, but the government.
I love that you've done this.
No, I had to work out, and I was like, wait a second, this would be like a record. Taking dive, but whatever. We're it's possible to. You believe it is possible within this world. It is possible to do this kind of a depth of dive, and you're not idiots. You came prepared for the level of diving that you would need to do.
We'd probably dive quite a lot, to be fair, because that is where a lot of stuff would be in this world, I suppose.
So the government offices are flooded, are mostly submerged. So I think like the first maybe couple of floors are like the first floor is just like. You could walk around on it, but you'd be up to like your knees, and then every subsequent floor is, completely submerged. What do you do?
Well,
is anyone? Are you still just gonna slap the suits on and dive, or are we gonna take a second and actually maybe plan something?
Yeah, we got time now. We're out of view of the tower. What are we doing?
Right. We got 3 suits. Someone's going to stay up here. Does anyone have a fishing line?
I will stay up here.
Very well. What's the reasoning, Isaac?
Hank, has anyone got a fishing line or anything we could do to...
Why do you want to stay up, Isaac?
Carry together. Okay, well, that's screwed then. Isaac, you're going to need a damn good story for why you're floating a boat out here in the middle of nowhere, doing nothing on a day when any sane person would be in cover.
I will deal with that if it comes to it. To answer your question, Alice, because diving as a group requires trust in others' competence.
I see. Well, that goes both ways.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm understanding right, you're taking the boat away, like back to the building, close-ish to the building, and then you're going to dive from like one of the sides that doesn't have the docks on.
Yes, but just follow the side of the building down, effectively.
Yeah, until you find hopefully some sort of entrance of some description.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So you park the boat. There's definitely the terminology.
Park the boat. Make sure it's in.
Put the handbrake on there.
Make sure you put no handbrake on. I'm such a nautical boy. So
shall we could dunk out the 90-meter anchor that we would need. I did work it out in my head.
You are probably I would guess you're probably going to like rope up to some piece of wreckage or some something that will keep you attached to the building so that you don't move too far from it.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, an anchor doesn't necessarily have to actually hit the ground to broadly keep a boat in one place without a huge current, right?
You need a sea anchor. It's a different and more complex piece of equipment.
Well,
We could tie
it's good.
ourselves up.
It's good that you have something that you can actually anchor yourself to. Okay, so you make your way round. You get suited up. The three: Fredo, Hank, and Alice. And you apply all of the various face masks, etc., and you take the plunge.
I mean, just as a thing, obviously I've got the hand radios and I have a dry bag as well. I've got I put one of my radio. It's probably not rated for, again, like 90 meters down, but I guess in the fiction of the game, maybe it is.
You're gonna have
Sorry, can we talk about how you will operate this radio?
Well, have you ever seen these clear plastic bags that when you're like in a pool and stuff, so you can use your phone in the pool because you need that, or a camera?
Oh yeah. But usually when in the pool, your head is, and using said phone, your head is not fully submerged under 90 meters of water.
There may be,
Isaac's message back.
Contact Isaac.
So
if you put into a bubble, it floats to the surface, and the message is there.
Isaac just sat in the boat with a radio listening to it. No expression on his face.
So okay, there is one thing that I can suggest. You cannot talk into these things while underwater. You could potentially press the button and trigger a noise.
Exactly.
You could Morse code. You can do Morse code on most.
So
radio, they specifically has a button that
also, if we do find air, if theoretically something is,
okay,
radio.
yeah, that is also a possibility. So
eventually.
But I'm just going to say you're not going to be able to just be in radio comms with the surface straightforwardly.
No. Oh, I take it all back. Isaac thinks that this is an excellent plan. Now that you can make aimless beeping noises to inform Isaac.
Yeah.
That you're
code.
Is it worth us specifying if there is anything we're specifically taking down with us other than the radio? Because stuff will get wet. So
again, I'm not taking the hunting rifle and all the bullets down. Please don't sail away with all my money. I don't think you get bothered taking the harpoon.
I'm not sure if Fredo did. I don't know.
No, I will leave.
Are there? This sounds silly. Is there nasty aquatic wildlife in this setting?
Hope not.
Or are there other scavengers already down there? You'll have to engage in a harpoon.
Let's not ask these questions now. Let's ask these questions after the session.
Okay.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
After Hank's leg has risen to Bob to
with a message with the radio attached.
That is a good.
Thanks for the radio.
Fair point, though. Do our characters know of horrific aquatic wildlife to be afraid of?
Have any of you been diving?
I've
in this area
been diving at some point.
Okay, Alice, roll brains.
It seems like the sort of thing I would do as a watery person.
It's definitely like I don't know if there's any random like nasty shark encounters or anything. I guess it feels like the kind of setting where there probably isn't, because instead of making horrible monsters, the radiation has just unraveled everything's DNA like it actually would.
Yeah, it's not fallout radiation.
No, sadly, I have not succeeded.
Okay, you've been diving, but unfortunately, you don't really know this area very well, so you're not sure. You would say that in like other places that you've dived, there has been, some fish and stuff. Like it's not like the seas are dead.
Okay.
In fact,
they're not exceptionally dangerous as far as I understand it, though.
You don't really know one way or the other. You don't know any. Like there are some dangerous fish in the sea, but you're not sure if they're here.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I don't have any particular reservations. I think the only thing I'm taking down is probably my melee weapon, which is a small folding grappling anchor.
Okay. Yep. So basically, all of you decide the items that you have, and I'll trust that you don't add them at random later. And yeah, so you take the plunge underwater. You swim downwards at a reasonable pace. You on this side of the building, you can see there's like one window that looks pretty smashed in. couple of floors down. It's worth noting that this initial area, there's quite a lot of like detritus. It's clear that the people kind of throw basically all of their like waste and trash in here. So there's lots of like occasionally there's like floating bits of horrible kind of gunk that like little crabs munch on, and yeah, very small fish kind of are nibbling, but you don't see anything super remarkable.
So there was an opening in the building, yeah.
Yeah, there's an opening. It does look like there are some like sharp, like, because it's like you know, this kind of slightly reinforced glass, the way in which it shatters is quite like there's some actual real sharp things, but you probably could make your way through.
I don't like sharp things. I think I'll point at it and then do that.
Okay. Are you going to sort of look around some more sides of the building or keep going down?
I'll probably point at it and do that and then point down.
Okay.
I don't know if the others agree.
Yeah, you have to, all of the communication you have to do now is in that like hand gestures.
Yeah. Are your hand gestures suggesting yes?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, you keep going.
I go down and you go. It's like...
You keep progressing downwards. You keep progressing downwards. I'm assuming you're remaining relative. Like, are you spreading out? Are you remaining close?
Close together.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be so fucking dark.
It's going to get pretty dark. Do any of you have any sort of light sources?
I'm assuming we must have prepped a light source.
Oh Jesus! Does anyone have? Yeah, does anyone have torches that
like
work?
When you said we prepared to do this, Pierre, we have to have a light.
I have a flashlight and a headlamp, but
okay.
part of me is like, would they work?
Yes.
Okay. In the game, they are waterproof because everything that's not waterproof has died by now.
Okay.
Is that what we're saying?
Between the three of you, you have two sources of light. A headlamp that's on Hank and a sort of a torch of some kind.
Which I will have grabbed if Hank was willing to give it to me at the beginning of this.
Yeah, I don't need both. I don't want to, yeah.
Okay, it's still relatively light at this depth. You can see possibly a better candidate window a little bit further around and around the corner.
Let's go investigate.
Keep going. Okay. I think you can just go through there if that's what you're trying to do.
How many floors down ish is this? I don't know exactly.
So this is like I think 5 or so floors.
So we've still got like another 18, 20 to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tempted. I kind of shrug my shoulders at this one and then go.
Yeah. Okay.
What do Hank and Fredo react?
Yeah, I mean, Hank's opinion, and maybe he said this on the boat in the past, is surely we're better off going as far down on the outside as possible, where we're not going to be in a tight space.
I think Alice might agree. So I think
the only thing I will say is the further you go down, the darker it is, which will make searching harder. But
inside the building is going to be even harder to get down.
Yes.
Get around. We've got to get around if we're inside.
Absolutely.
You know?
So you can keep going down, but bear in mind I'm going to start asking for like dice rolls to determine how well you can find appropriate entrances.
I see what you mean.
It's okay.
I think we'll stick with that idea.
You keep progressing downwards. Time passes. Okay, that's 9. Let me see. Yeah, so it's starting to get like a little bit darker. So your current floor is that. Okay, yeah. You don't see anything particularly suspicious or worrying. Yeah, so as you progress, you start seeing on the outside and also on the inside of the building, there's like a little bit of coral kind of growing. It's starting to form. Really brightly colored stuff, surprisingly. But obviously this is just as the light is starting to is still present.
Nice. Do we have any video game bioluminescent lights leading us towards the safe or something, man? That would be great.
There are lots of small fish, but there aren't any. None are bioluminescent. None glow in the dark.
Like the real ocean. Boo.
Just like the real ocean. I think you progress. So if you're looking at the tower, these kind of look like government offices. So these kind of look like, and you're kind of aware of the schematic a bit of the building. Bits of paper, but also kind of trash from Lustrum that's been dumped. So it's kind of wrecked and horrible. As you go deeper, you can kind of see that like this area has much less like trash and stuff. It looks incredibly sparse. And the impression you get is that like scavengers have probably got all of this by this point. Anything that was valuable here will probably have been picked clean at some point, because this is, still not an incredibly hard dive. Do you progress further? So for reference, you're now on floor 10.
Keep going. I mean, I think from probably briefly discussed on the surface, the plan would be to keep heading down, sticking close to the edge of the building, and maybe we'll find the entrance at ground floor if we don't find another way, because the entrance should be easy to find, you'd think.
Yeah, although bear in mind it's a sub basement that you need to be in.
But we can get in and then go down.
Okay, so your plan is okay, fair enough. So you progress further. You don't encounter any people. Let me just you're looking for some sort of entrance now. It's getting really dark. So the two people who have sources of light, roll brain for me to see if you can spot something. Spot an entrance.
I hate to ask, but has our wet increased to mess up this roll at all?
Your wet increases. I believe it's 3 per hour if you're diving, and I think that probably, let's say you've spent. I think you might have spent an hour going this far down.
Okay, 10 wet it is. That's 91. That's not helpful.
No, 91? I needed. My brain is 36, and I rolled a 37, which feels great.
No, that must feel bad, actually.
Can the janitor? No, you can't make a janitor fit this. Damn it!
Not without
as a janitor in school, I often dived. Not up to 90 meters down.
Not only was it a dodgy school, it also had an Olympic diving team.
Okay.
But they
frequently had to clean the bottom.
Yeah. This pool they put in sideways, it was very deep.
It was a school for NASA astronauts' children that had one of those
criminal NASA astronauts. Well,
the pools where you look down and it's like, oh my god, that's like skyscraper deep.
Okay. So all right, because you both failed, you were both searching, and you got kind of distracted for a moment. And Hank, you can kind of see Alice's maybe what was Alice's light. And then you're aware that you are not sure when you last saw Fredo.
Bye, Chris.
I mean, I will look around as much as I can in the spot I am sort of obviously turning my head to find the light.
You sort of look around. The darkness is really pressed in, and you are not you can't immediately see Fredo.
Is he still on the boat with Isaac?
He just swam back up.
I presumably haven't noticed. So.
Well, you're around the corner.
So I am on my own essentially, as far
You're
as
on your own right now, and
That's
you
horrible.
can see like a little bit of light coming from like where Alice must be, because there's some light, right?
I am
You
going
can
to
see
swim
like
towards
moving.
that light because it's going to be
Okay. You swim.
claustrophobic in here.
Yeah, you start swimming towards the light, and you turn a corner, and you see Fredo and Alice, thankfully, together, maintaining contact with each other. But yeah, for a brief moment there, seemed a little bit
I almost
nerve-wracking.
feel like I need to take another psychological wet point for that.
Okay, are you continuing downwards, or are you continuing to search this area? What's your approach, or are you going up to the previous areas that you've seen? I will let you continue rolling against this if you like. You haven't fully searched this area, and maybe Fredo could like have a go.
Yeah, maybe I'll hand the torch to Fredo just for fairness' sake. Just be like,
yeah, sure. Okay,
Fredo's time to shine.
Fredo's time.
We're still quite literally, because I've got the torch now.
Yes.
We're still above old world ground, or are we kind of a
Yeah, you're still above. You're about 10 floors above old world ground.
So
maybe 9 floors now.
Yeah, Fredo's going to take a hot minute. And did we find an easy way into the superstructure, or are we still outside?
There was an easy way in, a bit further up, maybe floor. I can't remember if I said a specific floor 15 or so.
It was about there.
So you could backtrack a little bit. Obviously, it would take a bit more time, which
no, I wouldn't be backtracking, but I suppose, look, there's a lot of stuff I want to do. None of it's going to be all that much useful until we get inside the tower, and Fredo is fully on board with not going inside the tower until
the bottom.
We're in a position, maybe not the bottom, but until kind of lower than this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So do you kind of motion to Alice, and like Hank emerges from around a corner, kind of looking a little bit panicked and like shaking his head, or like, yeah.
I have an image of Hank just swimming like a maniac around the corner, and we just turn around and go, "Oh, hey, Hank."
I'd like to apologize to anyone in the chat who actually does diving and is probably having absolute conniptions at the absolute dereliction of safe practice we're all going through at the minute. But yeah, Fredo's going to descend further.
Okay, so Fredo descends further. Can you roll brains for if you find an appropriate entrance point as you descend deeper into the depths?
That is a 98.
What are you going to do when we don't find anything, Pierre, and get to the bottom?
That's a failure. Okay, it is pretty dark. So Fredo, like you actually do find an entrance. You find something that you reckon you could fit through, right? It's like not too bad. What do you do?
Fredo will kind of shine the light in and have a little look. What's behind the danger gap?
I mean, there's a few bits of glass, but like, shards that are sort of sticking out. But like a person could fit through.
We're still pretty high up, though, aren't we?
Yeah, you are pretty high up. You're like on floor 7 at this point.
Fredo will kind of make for what it's worth, a mental note of this gap, but is definitely for carrying on further down.
Sure. Good thing you paused there. Yes. You guys progress further. Are you like shining your lights into the windows at various points, or?
Yeah, I think Fredo would be interested to check.
Hank is mainly looking for if there's the equivalent, the front entrance.
Okay.
Obviously, it's going to be on the ground floor.
Yes.
What was the ground floor? But to Hank, that's the logical place to enter. It's the biggest entrance, so we don't have to squeeze as long as there's nothing blocking it. And there may be a convenient sign on the wall that says sub-basement this way.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're sort of continuing on down, occasionally looking into a window or the other. You look into one, and there is a horrible creature there with eyes staring out at you.
Oh, it's Isaac.
It is not, in fact, Isaac. It's not actually huge. It's just an eel. It looks very ugly, and it kind of like if you approach it, it kind of like comes out defensively at you. But what do you do?
This is not. Yeah, this is not the correct hole to go down, and I'm not fighting an eel at the bottom of the sea. We'll carry on down.
Sure. I think just for a moment, we will cut back to Isaac sitting on the boat. The rain is starting to really intensify at this point. The water around you is getting a little bit choppy. Even with the I assume the kind of canopy that you've set up, it's starting to get like pretty heavy, and the wind is blowing it, and like you're getting kind of you're having a feeling that being out on this water is for too much longer might be a bit dangerous. What do you do?
Right. Obviously Lustrum Tower is relatively nearby.
Yeah.
What does the like water level floor of Lustrum Tower on this side look like? Is it? I'm assuming it's still the market floor, but like, does it have docks and stuff?
So wait. So what you're asking about Lustrum? So you're currently on one side of Lustrum Tower, right? You're currently
the other side from where we originally docked.
Yeah. So it doesn't really have docks, but there are like you could probably if you sort of explore a little bit around this side, you can see that actually there are probably like it's kind of like it's on stilts where windows have been smashed in. The base level, so like maybe you could get your boat under there or something, or possibly like there's a lot of like accumulated garbage. Yeah,
sure. Questions. One, can I see this dive spot from that position? So if they for some reason manage to come up in exactly the same place, which Isaac has no faith that they will, will he be able to see them surface?
You could plausibly, just about if they came up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two, how many random people are fucking around on this side of Lustrum Tower that can see A, the dive spot, and B, me lurking there in my little boat?
I mean, there's the windows where they could probably see, but there's not a huge number of people around at the moment. Like if somebody walked up to the windows, because you're quite close to the side of the building, they'd have to be like, looking quite down, but plausibly where you currently are, they would be able to see you. There's like a reasonable. You're not super.
Well,
hidden.
then let's get the boat over in better cover.
Okay. So yeah, you're going to try and maneuver the boat under cover. Cool.
Do you need me? You said the water was choppy. Do you need me to make a roll for that at all, or?
I don't think so. I don't think it's sufficiently dangerous that like I can imagine you failing, particularly, especially if you're taking your time. You do have quite a bit of time to do this.
Sure. Can I ask? And obviously, I'll make a roll for this if you want. Does Isaac have a rough idea of when those air tanks will have run out?
I'm trying to think if you would. I think you would probably know how long the air tanks last for. But now Pierre does not know exactly how long the air tanks last for, so I need to quickly have a look.
Sure. I don't need to specifically know. I just.
So there is a certain point at which you're like
time.
Yeah, at which you give up and stop looking for them.
Isaac has one of his, if you're happy for him to have this, one of his treasured possessions is a very waterproof. It's not a fancy watch. It's like actually like a battered old Casio watch that's
Mhm.
mainly survived due to it's just built so you can just fucking thwack it on
Smash
things
it,
for
yeah.
hours. Yeah, right. It's just a. But what it does have is a stopwatch or a timer.
Sure.
And when he gets in the lee of Lustrum Tower, he's just going to press to the amount that he thinks the tanks will last, and just
Yep.
set it going.
Yep. And so Isaac has made his way around the side. As you're going around, maybe you see some other boats approaching the docks that possibly look like scavengers also.
On the docks on the other side of the tower.
The docks are on two sides of the tower, I believe. So you
Okay.
can see that there are boats approaching, going round.
Like what I'm thinking of is the right-hand side of the tower.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like they're coming towards you. It's like they're coming like
no.
You can see other boats in the area. And as you look down at the tower at the stopwatch, we will resume with our fellow compatriots who have found the door, I believe, that's kind of been blown open to the ground floor. What do you do?
Oh, I'm quite relieved to find it and probably head in fairly briskly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just make sure there are 3 of us, not 4 of us, and not 2 of us going into the
4 being, much more likely than having lost someone.
Okay. Can all 3 of you make a lungs roll, please? Mm-hmm. Tell me the actual number that you get.
42, which is just under my lungs, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
22 here. Chair succeeds.
85.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd say that, like, Hank, you get the sense that this is going really well, despite your earlier panics.
If you'll pardon the pun.
Oh, swimmingly. You are actually feeling quite happy about
that's not the way around.
Yeah, things. You're amazed. It's actually really smooth.
Swimmingly.
Just perfect. And you enter the area of Lustrum Tower. It is, as you can imagine, extremely dark in here. You will struggle to navigate if not for the torches. Yeah. How do you go about finding these sub-basements?
So I'm looking at the walls for a sign, like a literal sign, not metaphorical. That hopefully, points. Basement would be ideal. But, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Fredo's going to take a moment in kind of the middle of the atrium, probably next to the ruin of the old reception desk, and kind of cast his mind back to these kind of towers when they were still new, and maybe he had some business in the basement, and see if he can kind of work out locations where there is likely to be access to the basement.
Yep, you can. I think you can probably just work out where you'd build one of these kind of things and head towards there. Mm-hmm.
I'm not heading anywhere unless we're all heading together. Okay. So at this point, communicating and making sure that everyone's doing the same thing is real important for Fredo.
Okay.
Especially wobbly Hank over there, who's probably having a grand old time with the old oxygen levels.
I'm loving this. This is going great.
This is going so well. It's interesting.
This is honestly giving me horrible flashbacks to reading really terrifying articles people who die while cave diving. So,
Matt, I think you'll find this isn't a cave. This is a sub-basement. Which is totally different.
Have you heard of anyone dying from building diving?
No. But
exactly.
to be fair, the specific article I'm thinking of is about somewhat like there's this big. Basically, it's just one big hole with nowhere to get stuck. and literally they're like, I think several people died trying to recover one person's body.
Oh gosh, I remember that one. Yeah, that was so.
It's fucking terrifying.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Because turns out we weren't meant to submerge ourselves in under tons and tons of
I'm
dark,
really
dark
imagining.
water.
I'm
So
really-
enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm really imagining the summary, the end of this being Isaac just watching the watch go, giving it 5
Yeah,
minutes, and then just rowing off.
Well, okay. Oh, he'll totally do that.
Yeah.
If his watch goes, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You and thinking of Isaac, you make your way all together towards I guess following kind of Fredo's lead, who seems to be keeping you guys together, but also kind of directing maybe towards a location. And you do find a kind of a stairway which goes downwards. As you progress down the stairs, you occasionally see like some kind of squid or other kind of dark preferring wildlife kind of moving around. I'm assuming you just kind of keep.
Can Fredo take a hot second at the place where we entered into this stairwell? I'm assuming this is kind of a building core stairwell, so it goes up and down.
Yeah.
So Fredo's going to take out the screwdriver he packed with him. He's going to quickly unmount the door, and he's just going to kind of lay it across the kind of upstairs, so that like there's clearly obviously something that's preventing you from going any further up.
Okay.
Just so that we don't get lost.
Ah, very cool. Hank, you see Fredo kind of unscrewing the door, and it strikes you as just like pretty funny. Like a pretty funny thing to do. And yeah, you progress down. You make it to sub-basement 5. You are now there. And yeah, you can see that there are like different rooms. You kind of search through them. Occasionally you see like a somewhat, large, like fish kind of or squid. But yeah, you find there's like a main kind of vault area. And the main vault door is open. Inside of this main vault, you can kind of see there's like, I guess, paper money kind of absolutely destroyed by the water. There's maybe like various valuables that, gold and diamonds and things, and stuff glitters in the headlamps as you move it over. Obviously, all of this is totally valueless now. There aren't really any bullets down here. A lot of things are kind of weathered and damaged. And then you set your sights on inside of the vault. There is a smaller kind of sub, vault kind of with a rotating cylinder lock on it.
Bingo.
What do you do?
Fredo's going to float over there and
I'll grab
make sure everyone kind of comes with, and is going to float over there and is going to enter the combination.
Cool. The safe opens, and inside there are some like there's like the water kind of floods into it, and a bunch of the stuff kind of comes out, like bubbles of air kind of come up in your face. And there's a few like files with maybe some photos or something inside of them, but yeah, they're getting kind of pretty destroyed by the water. And
I might try and grab some of the other stuff that comes out.
Okay, yeah, there's you can grab a couple of photos. They are pretty sort of damaged, but yeah, might be interesting. And there is like just fallen out a little orange ignition key. and yeah, you can take that and try and get back.
Yeah, so one thing Fredo was going to do is take the key out, maybe pass it. Who had the dry bag?
Hank did, but we can't open a dry bag underwater.
Well, what's the point of it then? Oh my god!
Well, it doesn't have an airlock on it.
Worst. This is the worst thing you could have brought down here.
Chris is right. What is it's? Yeah. What is
Keep the thing inside the dry bag dry.
Yeah.
You can still do the radio.
But if you're not going to get it out of the dry bag while you're underwater,
The radio
why did you
blips.
bring it
We've already
down?
talked about it.
So Fredo is kind
You
of
can
like
still do
indicating.
things through it if you can. It's not a box; it's a bag.
Yeah.
No, Fredo has thought this through and has realized that he's not that much of an idiot. What he is
He
doing,
swallowed it
however,
instead.
is closing the safe and spinning the lock on it.
So yeah, so Fredo and Alice, you see Fredo kind of close the lock. Hank, oh man, colors are a cool thing. Wow, things look amazing. You are just like enraptured by just everything, and you think
I
it's
drank
just
too much of this moonshine.
yeah, maybe it was some real good moonshine, and you feel like kind of fuzzy, and then you see like there's like a large dark shape moving. God, what is that? What the hell? Oh man, you must have had some really bad moonshine. And like in your head, you just hear like "dun it," and you're like, that definitely was not a noise that was actually made. Yeah, what do you do?
I freaked the fuck out.
So
I have
Fredo,
I was going to say
Fredo
I
and
have
Alice-
like a wrench with me. Not that you can
Yeah.
really hit underwater. A blunt instrument is best for underwater, but yeah, I think Hank starts slowly
So-
flailing it as fast as you can underwater at this shape coming towards him.
Fredo and Alice, you turn and see Hank, who seems to be like flailing at some bubbles, but you guys too see the dark shape, and it is a shark. And on that, we will leave it. So yeah, thank you for playing the Big Wet so far. We're having a whale of a time.
Yeah.
We're having a
No,
shark
no,
of a
no!
time.
Stop! Sharks are not mammals, nor are they whales. Don't let them
We're-
get away with it, Jack. Don't humor.
We're
him.
having a cartilaginous fish of a time.
That's better.
Acceptable.
Okay, very good. Thank you for playing. We have promo, I believe. So yeah, all of the things that Matt mentioned.
Yes, I will do promo. So check the links below: YouTube, Twitch, as well as the usual social media, Discord, Patreon, merch store. We run currently 3 nights a week. Mondays is Warhammer, Wednesdays Simbaroom is just taking a break, but we will be running Blade Runner for a few weeks shortly. Not next week, but soon. And then Wednesdays alternates between this, Big Wet, and Wicked Ones, which Sam runs, and Chris is in that way. We also do one-shots once a month, the most recent of which was Troika. We like it anyway, but part of the reason we did Troika is because we have just launched a Troika-based Kickstarter for a zine, a lovely, lovely zine, which I will paste the link for in the chat. Should you think that sounds cool, or I probably mentioned the actual concept, it's a kind of crazy pillow fort realm that also is a bit horror-based and fun. If you think that sounds cool, check it out. We'd love to have you. We'd love for you to give us money for that.
In exchange for goods and services. So, you know.
Yes, in exchange for the... Well, you don't have to. You can just donate money to us if you want. But there we go.
So yeah,
I probably have some. We didn't have any follows, but I probably have some comments and stuff. If you
yeah, let's
you want it.
see if there are any.
Steve went into detail about our various errors in scuba diving, but
I don't believe we
I will
made
just
any
flag
errors.
this. I will just flag this.
Yep.
You'll have a bad time if you breathe pure oxygen for any length of time, especially at pressure.
Well, I mean, Hank is having a great time, frankly.
Yeah, true. I mean, Hank got the pure oxygen thing, apparently.
Yeah,
Also,
'cause this is something that we, God, did this come up in another stream recently? Yeah, because there is this kind of weird belief that we breathe oxygen, where we don't. We breathe air.
Yeah.
But the active component of air that our lungs use is oxygen.
Yeah.
But pure oxygen will slowly start to burn the inside of our lungs.
It's less than 20% of the atmosphere, so 100% is pretty bad for you.
Yeah.
It's as it's like if you were just breathing nitrogen, it's not really giving you, it's not really what we're built to do.
Also, we have to hand wave the amount of time you can dive with tank for roleplay purposes. I did Google it, and we're definitely way too long in the water. Especially when you go deeper, it gets shorter.
Yeah, as Steve said here, 50 meters is usually the limit for hobby diving with air, and that's sodding deep and dangerous. Yeah.
And an hour.
But
and if you go deeper, it's less.
Don't blame us, and don't blame Pierre. Blame the writer of this scenario. We really like your game.
It's very fun.
Yeah. This seems a bit prophetic in the cold, damp light of day. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Is this joking about the shark?
This plot based around us dying underwater, trying to get the key, and then some other stuff happens? That's how it's supposed to go, right?
At the moment, this plot is I'm kind of simulating a bunch of stuff, and we'll see how that goes.
Because I really feel like we're already probably not going to make up to the surface even without the shark thing. So,
well, so long as you take your time.
No rush.
No rush, because the bends are a thing.
Yeah, definitely don't rush.
Yeah.
Clearly, our next Kickstarter project needs to be underwater themed. I'm sure that with brutal extra rule, we should make a Morkborg expansion that goes into brutal, sort of specificity in the various ways you can die.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called Moistborg. You're welcome.
I have
Chris, you've given it away, our golden opportunity.
No, what I've done here is copyright it.
I have seen some people talk about. I mentioned the article I read that was about people dying trying to recover a body of someone who died cave diving, and I spent that last bit while listening to them monkeying around below, where there was no way Isaac was going. I spent that time listening, but also finding the article. So you're welcome. Don't read it before bed or before going cave diving.
I have read it.
Maybe you should read. Maybe you should read it before cave diving.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that
and then you'll know not to go cave diving.
Yeah,
don't go cave diving unless you know what you're doing. And
then
the people in that article knew what they were doing, Pierre. It didn't help them.
Well, I still have not read it, so I feel an innocent sense. Maybe I should read it before next session, and then we'll have some inspiration about what happens.
We'll just tune in next session, and Pierre will just be, I don't want to run this anymore.
Okay. Is that it for our comments and questions and such? Okay. Well, it has been lovely. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Farewell.